Hey guys. So for today's lesson, what we're going to talk about is how to deal with people when there's a severe disagreement on next steps as well as behaviors. So the way that I put this together in my head was like this. It's not your job to decide how they live. It's not your job to decide how they live. But it is your job to decide how close they live to you. It's your job to decide how close they live to you. So, what does that mean? How do we pull that apart? So, it's not your job to decide how they live, but it's your job to decide how close they live to you. So, this is going to be a very live, let live lecture. Um, and obviously, that corresponds to my own personal beliefs on the topic. But what it's ultimately saying is that you, as the individual, you're taking ownership of yourself and you're taking ownership of your quality of life. Now, obviously, if you're in some sort of committed relationship with another person and there's children involved, then my video is probably a little too simple for your situation. But if you're just a single person, such as myself, then this can help you really set some good boundaries with people. So, one more time, it's not your job to decide how they live, but it's your job to decide how close they live to you. So, let's get that first part taken apart. It's not your job to decide how they live. I can only assume that some of you watching this may intrinsically feel that certain people within your life need to be directed by you, or certain people in your life might have taken care of you while you were younger, and you thinking to yourself, well, they helped me tie my shoes or they helped me navigate situations when I was younger, so now it's my job to help them navigate their situations and their challenges. And that process isn't always necessary. Now, you can 100% give them your perspective. And the context is that you're over the age of 25 and they're over the age of 25. You can give them your perspective, absolutely. And you can try to explain your perspective. But they're the ones that have to put it into action. They're the ones that have to decide to harness it. They're the ones that have to decide to use it. They're the ones that have to implement it in their life. So, what I'm getting at is you can say, hey, man, can you stop doing that? Here's why. At the end of the day, it's up to them to decide what they do. You can't hold a gun to their head, forcing them to do anything. Now, if law enforcement gets involved or EMS gets involved, well, maybe there's a little bit more of a urgency. But ultimately, you can't decide how people are going to live. It is absolutely not your job. No one's holding a gun to your head, forcing you to force anyone to change. And no one told you it was your job to force anyone to change. I've had a lot of really important people in my life that had a hard time harnessing the advice I gave them. And I was able to reconcile that and say, you know what? I did what I could. I did what I could. And I'm happy I did what I could. And I know that the person appreciated that I did what I could. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the person has to put it into action. They have to put it into action. It's not your job to put it into action for them. So they have to decide how they want to live. They have to decide if they want to change. They have to decide if they want something better. Then the second side of that equation is it's not your job. So, first side of the equation, it's not your job to decide how they live. Second side, but it's your job to decide how close they live to you. So here's the scenario: is you've got an extremely toxic person in your life, that is emotionally, psychologically, perhaps even financially draining you. Okay? This person is making your life bad. This person is making your life hard. This person is making your life unbearable. In that situation, the control you have is how you remove yourself from that person. Okay? That's the control you have. That's what you have a say in. Is this person is pulling me down, I am removing myself from this person. Whatever that looks like, whether it means putting them on block, whether it means moving to a whole new place, getting a whole new number, just, quit opening the door when they knock, whatever the case may be. It's your job to remove yourself from that situation. It's your job to remove that person from your life. Now, like I said, if you are unable to live on your own because of some sort of physical situation or some sort of financial situation, then yeah, this lesson is probably not for you. If you have some sort of severe physical situation where you're not able to take care of yourself and you have to live with someone, or if you're in a situation where you're just not able to pay your own bills, then yeah, this lesson isn't for you. But if you do have both of those situations, if you do have the ability to move your legs and use your legs, and if you do have the ability to pay your own bills and find your own way, then absolutely you have to remove yourself from that situation. You have to. Your life is not worth sabotaging. So, and I know that's hard for some people in some cultures. I've had people tell me that flat out, that what I'm suggesting is pretty anathema. It's pretty no go. It's pretty not acceptable. And I'm not. If your culture was built around that principle, there's probably a reason why it was built around that principle. Okay, there was probably a reason, and that reason may not be relevant anymore. Or that reason is still relevant, but it doesn't overpower the fact that this person is ruining your life. So, what I'm getting at, guys, is it's your job to decide how close they live to you. It's not your job to change them. It's not your job to get back at them. It's not your job to get revenge. It's your job to decide how close they live to you. You get to decide if you want to put a block on their number. You get to decide where you live. You get to decide what you do. That's what I'm getting at today. There was one way it was put towards me that makes a lot of sense is when it comes to people that are truly hurting you, is wish them the best away from you. Wish them the best away from you. Okay? If this person is truly externalizing their trauma and spraying it on you, then number one, get yourself away from them. And then number two, hopefully they can get the help they need. Okay? And maybe they're not externalizing their trauma. Maybe they're just a shitty person. Maybe they'll change one day. They don't have to change around you. They don't even have to know. You don't have to know that they changed. Okay? This person could have done a 360 in their life. Cool. Your number is still blocked. I'm not talking to you. I hope you can get your life put together. I really do. But I'm not going to be involved in it, good, bad, or indifferent. So that's what today's lesson was about. It's not your job to change people, but it is absolutely your job to decide how close they live to you. You have to decide how involved this person is going to be in your life. And the best way I've put two and two together, kind of like as like a litmus test to say, should this person be in my life? If they start pulling me down. If you start pulling me down, you got to go. We're not talking about honest mistakes. We're not talking about honest misunderstandings. We're talking about this person is literally making my life worse. Or this person is putting a dent in my paycheck. Or this person is putting a dent in my emotions. Okay? If you start pulling me down, you got to go. And that goes for everyone on planet Earth. I don't care who or what you are. If you are on planet Earth and you pull me down, I promise. I will remove you from my life. And I hope that you can implement a portion of that in your journey as well. That you can remove people from your life that don't need to be there. And you're not getting revenge at them. You're not getting back at them. You're not proving a point. You're not teaching them a lesson. We're way past all that, okay, guys? We're talking about this person's pulling me down. This person is making my life worse. I'm removing myself from that person. I can't do anything else. I've tried to talk to them. I've tried to work with them. I've tried to show them. They're not making any progress. They're not making any steps in the right direction. And there's a difference between manipulation, taking steps in the right direction to make kind of like a gaslight technique, but regardless, is that if this person is not making any progress towards goals, towards agreements that are mutually beneficial, then you got to get rid of them. You've got to get rid of them. And I know that's really hard. It's been hard for me to an extent. It got a lot easier once I realized that my power does not come from other people, that my authority does not come from other people, that my sovereignty does not come from other people, that my say does not come from other people. It all starts here and here. These two things. My mind and my heart. That's where it all begins and ends. And you have complete control over both of those. You might not see it, you might not believe it, but you do have complete control over those. So once you realize that it all begins and ends with you, is you can start making decisions to have a better outcome. You can have a better story. So, like I said, it's not your job to decide how they live, but it is absolutely your job to decide how close they live to you. All right, guys. See ya.